falling.
She's saying no, but
She's mad, but she still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Sean Whaley is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, good afternoon and welcome everyone to a brand new edition of Axe Kick Picks, episode 235. Today is Friday, June 26th. The year is 2026. Kid, is that a Florida Marlin hat?
Yeah, Florida Marlins hat, drinking out of the thing. The Mets have fired Carlos Mendoza.
Thank the Lord.
But this is a fighting show, and where words will fly on AKP. I got a list of events for you besides the UFC.
A lot of action this weekend.
Yeah, we're talking a little PFL and a little wrestling, a little WWE, a little.
We'll see if there's time for that.
Yeah, let me mention, you got LFA. Our friends over at LFA always having numbered events. 236 they're up to tonight, as alongside BKFC Fight Night Hammond. That's Hammond, Indiana, for you that are not in the know. And then One Fight Night 44. I would once again like to thank Reagan Upshaw for his time. Allow me to interview him before his pro debut. A lot on the play, a lot of training, and if there is a cut, weight cut, also that involved. So I want to give him a shout out. And to end the weekend off as well, this Sunday you got Zuffa Boxing 8.
Yeah, guys, go over, check that out. It's over on CST's YouTube page and on their Twitter and Instagram. Kid, right off the bat, Joe Lozon signing with BKFC, making his debut at BKFC Fenway.
Really?
Joe Lozon. You know who I'm going to call?
Who?
Kenny Florian.
Oh, yeah. What? Fight a little bare knuckle?
Yep, because they have a history in the UFC.
Joe Lozon has been in a lot of wars. I think he's been bloodied up a lot. I think he's a fighter's fighter type of guy. So, I mean, the fittings fits. The signing fits. Like Aspen Ladd, I actually think after that first win, I think it seems like these guys have found a home there.
Hopefully, I mean, Joe Lozon's a little past his prime, but like in Aspen Ladd, hopefully she finds a home somewhere. Was it UFC?
No,
probably not PFL. We'll see. I know her brother. I interviewed her brother. He's in LFA. We'll see.
Yeah.
I root for all the fighters when they find their home. I mean, look at Mike Perry, for example. I'm rocking it still. He's the king of violence. Eventually you find a home somewhere. That's and right. You got to make it sick. And I root for every fighter. Hopefully
that's why we like all the promotions. Friends over at LFA, friends over at Octagon, all over the world.
We do have a great show for you today. We'll recap UFC Vegas 119. We are going to go literally across the world to Azerbaijan, UFC Baku this weekend. Tomorrow morning, we got great Zuffa boxing. Well, we do have Zuffa boxing on Sunday, but great boxing this Saturday at the Barclays Center. Xander Zayas taking on Boots Ennis. It's a really good fight.
That's a Matchroom, right?
Matchroom, yes. I do wish it was at the Garden because it's just there's a bigger feel. Like the bigger fights are at the Garden.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the little brothers in town, but Barclay's nice, but it's no Garden.
Maybe they paid the renting price to the profit of the ticket.
Yeah.
Maybe to fill up Madison Square Garden, how much they would charge, it probably didn't make sense financially, but they could probably get a good number at Barclays. And I feel like, if the Nets are smart, they would accept any type of concerts, any type of if it's wanting to take place there, get as much money as you can.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows, maybe it did come down to tickets, and maybe they had a fear that it would be a little too empty for the Garden. We also have PFL San Diego as well. I think I posed this question on X or Twitter, whatever you guys call it, but I was really intrigued by, outside of you and me and our friends over at CST and other diehard people who know the ins every week. Who really knew about PFL San Diego this week? Because I talked to people and they were like, oh shit, PFL has a card this week. And I was like, yeah, it's actually a pretty decent card. Do you blame them or do you blame ESPN?
I think ESPN. It's seemingly commonplace now with the, they worry about all these TV contract and TV deals. And then when you sign that contract, you're not being promoted as much by said company. Like we said, we're talking about the UFL with the guests we've had on speaking about that. It doesn't seem to matter which sport. It seems that I don't know how much the company's at fault for, promoting as much as they can when the networks themselves aren't doing so.
So I looked into it. Their end of their TV deal with ESPN is coming to an end at the end of the year. So I guess my thought is two things could be true. Yes, it's part of ESPN not promoting it, but also them, meaning the PFL, not putting all their eggs in one basket and saying, you know what, we're going to hold off on really promoting these cards until we get this new deal.
Okay. I mean, you got to still make money in the meantime, though. Like it would be like kind of cutting.
How do you think ticket prices are doing at PFL events?
You think they're?
I'm just curious. I don't know the answer. I haven't been to a PFL event in a little over 3 years, and at the time, it was at the Hulu Center. It was good. It was who headlined it? It was Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, we've seen like a steady increase with UFC ticket prices, though, because I think there's a demand for it. So to your point, not having that much of a demand, maybe they're overcharging, is what you're saying? You're trying to argue?
No, I'm just posing the question. What do you think the ticket sales actually are comparative to other, I'll say, JV organizations? Because we can't compare it to the UFC, because no matter what, they're going to sell out.
That's what I'm saying. I think what's like you're looking like at a nosebleed of a fight night for a UFC card. What, like $200 nowadays, right?
It's probably like $400, bro.
Yeah. So I feel like you could probably get some decent seats at a PFL event for like $150. That's what I was going to go on the record to say.
Yeah, well, we're looking actually to be in the building a little over a month for PFL Charlotte,
August
Joey 7th, and I. Right? Yeah, August 7th. It's a Saturday. We're looking to be there, hopefully to cover it as well. Got to put our journalist hats on for that one. But yeah, we're looking to be there, PFL San Diego. And honestly, like I was saying, it's a pretty decent card. I like it. I mean, you got a real AJ McKee is headline. Say what you want about other AJ McKee is one of their biggest stars
for tonight's event, right? For San Diego.
Yeah, for San Diego.
Yeah. Well, that's to your point, right? Like all the fighters that they have on the roster, it feels like they're not that they're underappreciated, but they're undermarketed.
Yeah. That's also a very good point. PFL tomorrow night, 7 p.m. So it actually lines up perfect. It's a 3-screen perfect day if you like combat sports, which I'm assuming you are if you're tuned into this show. But you have UFC Baku in the morning. It goes right into Xander Zayas and Boots Ennis, and then it goes right into PFL San Diego. And hey, if you like a little fucking FIFA on the action, it's right there too for you.
Hey, but I'm glad you looked at the future a little bit. I'm hyped for that card. Like you said, last time we were in Charlotte, actually at that same arena, we did see Brian battle, and he's fighting Dalton Rasta. So I mean,
exactly, it could all come full circle for really us.
It really could.
I was actually wearing the I'm saying PFL. I was actually wearing the UFC Charlotte shirt that I had on when we went to the event. Good event. I know you're an adopted Carolina boy. I wasn't very hyped on the arena per se.
Yeah, it was fun. We got to walk around the city, like
Charlotte, the Queen City is nice. No bad things to say about Charlotte. A friend of mine actually moved there, but the arena, I don't think, you know what it is, and maybe we're spoiled growing up here in the Northeast. These are diehard fans up here. Whereas when I went down to Charlotte, I didn't feel that. Oh, I love these fighters. They were just trying to fuck around.
It was in town.
Yeah.
I get you.
And there were some good fights. Like Ian Machado Gary was there.
There's some cities, to your point, where they go, and I mean, it's a ruckus. I mean, just wait for Philly, right?
Oh my! When I went to BKFC Knucklemania, bro, it was insane.
You had Knucklemania not only in Newark, but you also had it in Philly. But then now we're looking ahead to the summer schedule. We'd only have the Freedom Bash, the July fights for BKFC in Philly. We're going to have UFC
330. Yeah. Yep, that's going to be a huge one. We got some news about that in a little, but okay, let's break down last week and see how we did. UFC Vegas 119. Manel Cap, performance of the night. He gets the knockout or KO TKO against Corey Horiguchi in the 3rd round. And kid, I was telling you, I was away last weekend, but I caught up. I watched the whole card, or I won't say whole card. I watched the main card.
I watched the whole card.
I'll say this, man. I I didn't. I knew the outcome because you fucking texted me, but I was like, damn, like when is this KO gonna happen? Because the first 2 rounds I scored for Horiguchi and he was styling on him, and then it just the power of Manel Cap, it really resonates in the flyweight division.
Yeah, it just took one exchange for Kyoji to get caught, and he's been able to take a shot at the part of his career. There's second half of his career, he's been able to take a shot, but I don't know, man. We see it. The hardest thing to do is beat an opponent twice, and Manel Cap a second time around. And mind you, maybe the environment, being in the smaller cage, could be more suitable for, getting his hands on Kyoji Horiguchi. Whereas, was that fight in a ring as well in front of 30,000 strong in Japan? I don't
know.
It might have been, and I think that also could have an effect. I think, the cage environment, all that, it definitely comes into play. So Manel Cap benefited this second time around. He looked good. Like I said, to come and rally into the third, I think that's pretty impressive. I think it shows some championship merit there. I was always high on Manel Cap, but I was backing the story Kyoji Horiguchi, undefeated up until the main event, and I bet with my heart there, and that's how it goes, Dylan. It's been like that for the past month. When you and I bet with our heart, we got our heart broken.
Last 4 fights for Manel Cap: round 3 KO TKO against Bruno Silva, round 3 KO TKO against Asu Amabayev, round 1 KO TKO against Raw Dog Brandon Royval, and
he's
then
earned the title shot.
And then round 3 KO TKO against Corey Horiguchi. I don't care if he waits because they're gonna have to run it back, in my opinion, with Pantoja and Joshua Van.
And he's ready now, isn't he? Isn't Pantoja ready now?
He's training. Nothing's in the books, but he's training, so he is ready. He didn't have surgery, which is a good thing. But Manel Cap, next fight is for the belt. It has to be.
If Pantoja can't, if they have to extend the duration of when Pantoja is going to be ready, they may gift Manel Cap a shot. It would be in 2027, I would say, because I think their hopes is to try to get Pantoja and Van rematch by the end of 26. Don't you think?
Yeah, I know they have stuff on the books up until September. Maybe I don't think they would do Abu Dhabi in October for it. Maybe at Madison Square Garden in November.
I was going to say Madison Square Garden in November, and don't sleep on Salt Lake City getting a card in October, quite possibly.
They usually do 2 cards in October. I don't know. They do the Abu Dhabi one, and then they switch it up. They alternate. Maybe Salt Lake City, but yeah, I put it on Madison Square Garden, man. Either that or December at T-Mobile.
Yeah,
but we agree, regardless if they run the rematch or not, Manel Cap's next fight is for the belt, correct?
And and even with the quote unquote updated meta rankings, he's there's no change there.
Well, let's settle on that. I'm going to break down that in a little, but
there's no change there for the flyweight division.
Yeah, no, and yeah, Manel Cap's next. Say what you want. He's delivered all last 4 fights after that boring snooze between Makayev and him. He's delivered 4 knockouts, 4 straight finishes. My worry on Manel Cap is he kind of
not being tested and popping for
not tested. He reminds me of a little like
Ilya. Bothers me, right? I mean,
like Ilya Tapore, where they kind of start a little slow and digest you. But once they figure you out, they just got to put their hands on you.
Yeah. I that's his name. That's his game. If he can deny takedowns and kind of fight his style, which is going to be on the feet, I think Manel Cap has a good chance in all these flyweight fights, because it's that, like you said, what you led off with, the power translates well for the division. You don't see that too often at 125. So.
And I thought that was going to be it, because if you are able to take Manel Cap down, which we saw Makayev do, you can win. You can beat him.
Yeah, I think that's why you see Van now holding the belt. I think his power carries well 125. If you have some power, look what happened with Figueiredo when he was running the division. He had some power. Still, the quadrilogy with Moreno. At the end of the day, if you got some power at 125, it could do you well.
It looks like Navajo Sterling looks like a guy to watch there in the light heavyweight division. He gets the KO TKO in round 2 against the Hulk, Ian Kutalabe. Big win for still. It's a big win for him. It's probably one of the biggest names on his resume now.
Certainly. Yeah. I don't think really, and that's scary to say for Sterling. I think we still have untapped potential with him because his size, his frame fits well for 205, I think. And he's training with a good camp. It's just that Kudalaba normally presents a problem for fighters, and I didn't see much of a threat. Like Sterling
No, I
was able
didn't either.
to, kind of quiet all that down. And like I said, I'm still a big fan of Ian Kudalaba, no matter what matchup he gets up next. But I just saw the rise of Navajo Sterling in his past couple of fights. He's seemingly, evolving and putting it all together.
He is 10-0 now, undefeated. I still think he needs another fight or two before he gets into the top 15, correct? You don't want to shoot him up too quick.
Oh, Kudalaba's in the top 25, maybe. He might be surfacing that. So, yeah, it's got to be something around that range. I don't think Navajo Sterling, as far as, thin as we can say light heavyweight is, pushing him to the top to 15, I think would be bad for him in this moment in time.
100%. Yeah, the next fight, C-Rod, man, what a performance. Thank God I didn't back Hyder Emil because first fight back since his longtime head coach Duke Rufus passed away in October earlier in the year. First fight since his coach died, and look at the performance that he did. You knew he was in there with him. I felt chills about that fight just because I knew how much and how respected, not just in his camp, but how much Duke Rufus is respected in the sport. And you knew C-Rod was going to go out there and deliver, and he gets a submission win in the first round.
C-Rod's a dog, right? Like people underestimated him going all the way back to like the Raul Rosas. They thought that, he'd be able to, get a win over a big name. Because I think that's what you see with Christian Rodriguez. He is a big test. He gives the likes of like Austin Bash. So a lot of these newcomer guys, they have to kind of make their name off Christian Rodriguez. You see what happened with like Mel Costa. He was able to kind of propel himself. So not for Hyder Emil. Like we said, a late prospect for him. I like the dude. I think he has finishing capability. We've seen the power, but man, it's just Christian Rodriguez is going to turn away a lot of up-and-comers, I feel like.
100%. Yeah, it was a very good performance from him. Vinicius Oliveira, kid, good call. Because I thought the first round, Andre Fili played. He fought well, but
I think he looked good in the first.
Yeah. I don't want to harp on Herb Deem. Some of them were back of the head, but
it's getting ridiculous.
I guess it's getting to a point. Yes, it's a little ridiculous at this point. It's hard. What are you going to do? Stop them mid-fight and be like, no, we're going to stop it. It's back of the head.
I mean, yeah.
but like, it's so hard to judge.
In the momentum of the,
we're moving.
The swing of things.
It's hard to make a judgment call on that.
Yeah, and it's to like Joe Rogan's point of like introducing other types of rules that can change it, like because getting it as close to it, like no holds barred as possible with the without fish hooking, eye pokes, or nut gouging. I feel like soccer kicks, like a lot of things could change the way fights are called. So like to your point, the momentum of a way of fights going, it's hard to step in there and be like, well, everything you're doing is effective, but you may be fouling. Like, it says my job to step in there, but that's the thing. Then we have that controversy of you stopped it early, or you then denied this guy his opportunity of closing the show. He got a guy hurt. Now you stop that. They get back in. You get a Waldo Cortez, Ante Delia type situation, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we've seen it time and time again. It's not an easy matter being a referee. You don't hear them when they're doing good. Shout out Jason Herzog. You never hear anything from him. But anytime
I think he's the best. I also think Mike Beltran is top class too.
Oh yeah, but right now I think Jason Herzog past 3 years, he might be ref of the year for the 3 years running, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's him and Mike Beltran for me. Those are the two. But other than that, I didn't really watch the prelims. Did you any big takeaways from the prelims?
Man, the Peruvians look good, staying away from those fights, but they got their wins, and I don't think those were anticipated too much. You know what I mean? Carol Hosa losing as well, so some underestimated wins, unexpected wins. Rich Raposo on a split decision. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was a good showing for a lot of the underdogs. I bet you that's how it reflected in the value, and we did profit.
You might have. I've been so fucking ice cold. I can't wait for this weekend because I'm going to my best bet is my next bet. And
Yes,
I'm going to
I love
bet
that.
everything. Not every fight, but I'm betting UFC, I'm betting boxing, I'm betting PFL.
You're getting me right by volume.
Yeah, 100%. So, but yeah, no, the last 3 weeks, can't deny. I went 0-3. Andre Touchy-Feely, he lost for me. The co-main event lost for me as well. I took, or no, not co-main event. I took C-Rod and Hyder Emil over 2.5 rounds and finished in the first. And then I took a shot on Corey Horiguchi. And honestly, it was looking good until it wasn't.
Yeah. I was feeling strong. I was like, I was kind of on the edge of my seat, like watching Japan play in FIFA World Cup. Watching like I was like, and then it happened, and then it was just like, oh, my heart.
Overall, how did you do?
8-1.
So you had a great night.
Yeah.
And it was the main event who lost it.
Exactly.
Wow.
It was undefeated up until that point. I was like, we're looking good. Kyoji just needs to get a win somehow here. And
how good were you feeling going into round 3?
He basically got flatlined in there. Let's be real, Cap. He's got some hands, bro.
No, he has power, and when he finally wasn't so defensive and he started to be a little more offensive, let his hands go a little bit, you were like, okay,
yeah, it changed the whole feel of the fight.
Well, thank you for carrying the squad, because I've been fucking ice cold.
Ebbs and flows, like you always tell me when I've had.
No, it is. It's ebbs and flows. Yeah. It just sucks. I just need to see one. It's like when we shoot free throws, I just gotta see it go in, and then I'm like, all right, I think I got my swagger back.
Tell them, bring me my money.
Yo, those are great videos. I don't care what anyone says.
De La Salle. I think we played De La Salle back in the day.
Really?
Yeah,
St. Joe's?
Alley School. Plenty of the, big North.
I do want to talk before we get, because we got some time. I do want to talk about these rankings. One thing I'll say, maybe it's just a fucking they did this just so they could fulfill their sponsorship fulfillment. I don't know how I really feel about it. I think it's to the point where there was a lot of glitches when they debuted it earlier in the week. Yeah. They had different champions who weren't champions. I don't think it's all far off comparatively. You know what I mean? Like they have Lerone Murphy for the featherweights at number 3. And then for
downloading the analytical, like once again, analytical points of it, as you were saying, it basically was putting people where it thought would be champions instead of the actual data itself. So,
and if you really look at the meta rankings, you say it the best. It's more of a what have you done for me lately kind of thing. Whereas, like, if you're on the rise and you've done better, as opposed to someone who kind of on a skid, but still
has sat in the rankings for a while,
you're going to get punished for that.
Yes, they have been. I don't agree about one, and he's on the card tonight, and I think he may be upset. I don't want to give it away.
No, I just want to. Who's the ranking?
Johnson. If you look where he dropped almost about 10 spots.
In the what?
Is he flyweights? I think he's flyweight 125.
Okay.
If you look at meta to poll, he was a lot higher in the poll than what happened to the meta, and he even
Charles Johnson on the meta is 14, and then he is 13 in bantamweight.
I saw it more significant before. It was a bigger drop.
That's what I'm saying. The first few days they had some glitches. Now I think everything's turned around. He only went down 1 spot. That I don't mind.
I think it was more. That's why I think it may have been updated again. But
do you think fighters are now going to come out and be like, "Oh, the meta rankings now"?
I don't know. I think, like you said, I think it's more of a fulfillment of the sponsorship to just kind of put that AI out there. I mean, we're already getting AI slop in the ads and the the previews and the hype packages that we're getting, B-rolls and everything. So, I mean, interesting to say the least.
Yeah, very interesting. We'll keep an eye on it, but I did think it was interesting. I don't know how much it will help. We'll see. We'll go from there, but this is the first week of it. But kid, let's get into it. We got a lot to get into, so let's dive right into it. But before we do that, a quick word from our sponsor, brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. There's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick. just like how we like our lives, whether it's Huckleberry playing around a golf with the boys or an elderberry watching UFC Baku. It doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, we are back. Let's get into it, kid. We will start in Azerbaijan, Baku. Prelims go off. Set your alarms. It's not too bad. I know a lot of people like to sleep in on Saturday. I have an internal alarm, so I'm going to be up. 9 a.m. Yeah, literally. 9 a.m. start time for the prelims. Main card goes down at noon. So great time while if you're shopping, if you're walking the dog, whatever you're gonna do, have a great time. It's a really good card, I think. Like even Juan Masamato, he's the second fight on the card, and he's still like he's a young, good, up and coming prospect. I know he ran into New England Cartel's Bobby Font, but like
across from him.
Yeah, but he is a good fighter. Like you got Eric Nolan on the card. You got my boy Michel Olejejczyk. Shout out all my Polish people out there. But I think it's a really good card, especially the last like 4 fights.
If you know the fighters, I think that's the thing. It's not as a casual viewership, I would think, but the guys that you mentioned to lead off the show, those that have invested into the fight game, know these names. This is a high-level card.
Yeah,
very
100%.
Azerbaijan is in for a treat here. And
the crowd last time was insane.
Oh, electric. They deserve every bit of this. You know what I mean? So might as well kick it off right way with an Azerbaijani fighter, with Tahir Abdullayev. The welterweight fighter is plus 105. Jefferson Nascimento is an undefeated Brazilian, and Brazilians have been barking this year as dogs, as favorites. Anytime traveling across the world, seem to travel well and they compete. I'm concerned about the undefeated guy here, so I'm hoping that Azerbaijan comes off with a win, the first fight of the evening, but not necessarily so sure. I would lean the under 2.5 though. Both fighters seem to finish fights, so there's my opinions on that. Are you getting started with the first fight at all?
No, but I got something in the second fight.
Yes, because I think it's, like I said, a very high-level fight here, very early in the card. I'm leaning right away over 2.5 rounds here. Bekzat Amakan has the hands to do so, but it's just the ability of Jan Matsumoto. 2 fights, 2 split decisions away from being 19-0, I think. So minus 150, plus 150. Odds could be closer, but what do you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to go out and not take my boy from Kazakhstan. I'm going to take Mazumato, who, I think is a very good price at minus 150. There's a lot of good arguments that, he could have won those fights as well. I thought he lost them, but still, high level. He has a chin. He's very hard to put away. He's favored for a reason. I think if he keeps it on the outside, he's quicker. I think he has the power. And I think eventually he's going to put him away. I like him on the money line. I think it's a fair price at minus 150, maybe one of those 1.5 plays. But I think inside the distance or KO, TKO, I think is worth a sprinkle as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's gone the distance with Umar, which was last notice. I think that's where we were impressed by Bekzat. But he kind of went down a notch after the loss to Alexandre Topuria. I don't.
He just had a really good game plan.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think he looked all the best there. So obviously that could be the game plan. May want to grapple Bekzat, right?
Yep.
So
and Masamato could do that.
Yeah, he certainly can. So
are you not getting involved?
Like I said, I was leaning over 2.5 rounds.
Oh, don't you have that in the first pick too?
No, I went under.
Oh, flip-flop, under over.
Yeah, under in the first fight of the night. Maybe we get off with a bang with Azerbaijan, but like I said, the Brazilians are live. And a second one in John Matsumoto, but also where, half Japanese, got the Japanese Kyoto. Bekzat, I think, has the knockout capability, but Jan Matsumoto has the game plan, the grappling. I'm thinking it's a high level fight, clash of styles in a sense. I'm going over. Hard pressed to see a finish, but if I do see one, you're right, it may be coming from the Matsumoto camp. So
I want to see. I'm hard pressed to fade my boy from Sweden in this next one.
Yeah, right. I mean, and he's had a fight booked for this, so he has a camp. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see him stepping up to take on Ukraine Donchenko, who had an opponent scheduled who called out, right? Yeah. So is it you change both guys changing opponents? I'm not involved in this one. I'm not. But I guess the odds are indicated right. You know, Danchenko heavy favorite minus 435 and Begrin at plus 400. It's probably, like you said, dog or pass, but I have no official play.
The reason I've been watching a lot of the Swedes in the FIFA World Cup,
He's nasty.
And I like them. I like the Swedes. I think they're great people, actually. Simba is his name. Guy making his UFC debut. He looks like a kid. He looks like he's 18 years old. Coming here on short notice.
Shape,
what happened?
These dudes in shape though.
100%. He lives in the gym. The Swedes live in the gym. It's going to be dog or pass, but I might go with my boy Theodore Simba.
You're going with your boy Con Offley. Turkey mentioned plus 195 taking on Javier Reyes minus 200. They say that the Colombian has been training in the hills of Colombia at elevation, getting ready for fights. Javier Reyes seems to be a star for South America. Do you agree?
No. Last time I backed Con Offley was maybe like last year. It was against Muhammad Nurmavaev or something, and he lost.
Oh, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like the Javier Reyes camp more.
Oh, yes. The Colombians are on fire, and it's a short price, minus 150, minus 155. I think it's a very fair price.
Yeah, I didn't have an official play, but since there was a little more chalk on Javier, that's why I was kind of timid on touching it. Let's stay away from me, but probably, like you said, Javier Reyes. Let's see if he lives up to it. I am getting involved in the next one here. Middleweight matchup, Nursultan Ruziboev is minus 210, taking on Andre Pulayev at plus 195. Bro, Pulayev was live in all these fights that he's been a part of since joining UFC, and he's been a dog in them throughout. Look who he lost to. You know, his UFC debut after Dana White Contender Series was Christian Leroy Duncan. We know how high level he is. He comes out, gets a finish against Nick Klein, as he should. But then, you know, the next fight after that, another high-level guy in Oteba Garte, who we think the world of, is the next big thing in the middleweight division. So I think the level of competition for Pulayev is setting up well to take on Nursultan Ruziboev. Ruziboev, don't get me wrong, he's a finisher. He's a scary dude. But I look, you know, some fights, like even the Buckley fighting, and granted, it was him cutting down a little bit. I still feel like the losses have been there to be experienced. So I'm going to take a chance with Pulayev as a dog, plus 195. Maybe he can pull the upset here. Like I said, Ruziboev has lost before.
Okay. I actually saw Nursultan. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Nursultan Ruziboev.
Nursultan. Yeah, I saw him in that I saw him in May of like 2024 when he was down in Atlantic City. It was him versus Buckley.
Yeah, that's what he cut that extra weight and lost to Buckley.
Lost, though. You can't beat my boy Joaquin Buckley. You kidding me? Stop it.
Maybe that do him too well, but
he's like been on a 2-fight win streak since then.
And Pulayev, like I said, I think the odds are right, but I think he's live. Like I said, he competed well against Gauthier. Look what Gautier's doing to guys. He's literally touching them and they're getting out. So
touching them.
Pulayev, he was able to go to decision on 2 of those fights. I think if the fight goes a little later, it would favor him as well.
Kid, Turkey beat United States last night on a game-winning shot in the 97th minute. Can the Turk beat the American here?
Yeah, but I'm not taking a side. You know, Julius Walker is interesting. I do think he's tougher than like the last 2 outings for his opponents for Rakhmayev. Rafael Sequeira and Bredson Ribeiro are complete layups. Let's be real. And he had to resort to not just finishing on the feet. He had to go and, you know, get the submission. So I don't know if that says anything to you, but it makes me say that Julius Walker, with how tough he is and how awkward he could be in there, and the fights that I've seen him fight to start round 2 is plus money. That's a bet that's hit for me in the past. I'm going to take it again. Plus 115 for the fight to start round 2 for Akayev and Walker.
I love it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be tough sledding for the United States back-to-back nights, my boy. So we'll see. Farman Hassanov, another Azerbaijani fighter, but I think it's a tough task. It's Eric Nolan. Eric Nolan gave Bas Saigar Serserkayev a run for his money, and he was a complete weight out of his weight class, stepping up on that short notice, one to do so. So I think Eric Nolan's live here, and the fact that I think he's live is because you look at the knockout capability. He's got power behind those hands, but it's just Hassanov is undefeated. He has a game plan. maybe wants to take Eric Nolan down, take him out of his power. And I think Eric Nolan, as a Marine, he travels well, so I don't think the journey or anything like that's going to be a shock to him. And now at welterweight, like I said, I think you may see the power. So it's either Hassanov going to be able to take him away from that, or Eric Nolan lands a shot. Makes me like under 2.5 rounds here at -150.
I love it.
Yeah. Do you see possibility of a finish for Eric Nolan?
I think he's live at +150, +155. I think he's definitely live. A knockout, I don't know about that, but I would just take him on the money line if you like a dog here.
Yeah, fair, dude, fair. Middleweight matchup next. I'm excited for this one because Abus Magomedov, I think he's exciting. Like, I think people have shown that the gas tank with those first couple of fights in the UFC, we're like, oh man, if this guy can't get past the first round, then what is he doing in the UFC? We've seen improvements from there. And Alexiejczyk, I think the recipe to defeat him, he seems unbeatable on the feet. It's about getting him down and taking him, once again, another fight back to back, and taking him out of his, stylistic advantage on the feet and trying to submit him. I think Alexiejczyk is vulnerable to that. But how could I fade Mikhail Alexiejczyk, who has just made us nonstop money, time in and time out, and you can double it here by taking Mikhail Alexiejczyk via KO TKO at +200. I do think it could happen quick, but like I said, Abus has caught first and second round a bunch of times, so just to play it safe, just taking the KO TKO prop at +200 because, like I said, it could happen first, but it could also happen second or third.
My boy Mikhail Alexiejczyk +130. I love it. My Polish power. He's a extremely aggressive knockout guy, and
yes,
he's great. I love him. He has not faced a lethal set of adversity that Abus has, but he has fought several of the same athletes, and he has succeeded in that. So I think if he could keep the fight on the feet, he has the advantages. He's more athletic. I think he's tougher. I think he's the better striker. So I love him in this spot. This is probably one of my favorite plays. I'm going to take Mikhail Alexiejczyk. I think it's more of a -110 both ways pick him. Getting a +130, I'm taking the dog. One of my favorite plays.
Love that pick. Love it. Yeah, if you can get it on the money line. It's just
oh my God. I'm sorry. The reason because I'm reading from my bet slip, because I already placed it at +130. He's -115. now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it got squeezed down there because I was
holy shit, everyone came in.
If you got it at +130, I credit you for that. But for me to take Alexiejczyk, it's probably like double chance. I think the submission's out the window for him. It's him getting the knockout or him just being so much on the scorecard. But I just think
I'm sorry. I'm looking at like my odds and what I've said in certain fights up until this point. I've been just looking at my bet slip. Wow, fuck. He's -115. He's but to my point, he deserves to be the favorite, which doesn't surprise me that money has come in on him. I'm on the side where the money is. So sharp.
You were on it early and everyone came in late. So they were listening to you, my boy.
Hey, I wasn't even saying it.
Middleweights matchup next. Bruno Ferreira, always exciting. Most of his fights, I don't think he's ever gone to the judges, to be honest with you. He's a dog here at +270 because he's got to travel all across the world to take on Ikram Alaskarov, who's only lost to Bobby Whitaker, Bobby Knuckles, and Hamza Chimaev. -280, Ikram's getting the favorite here. And I agree the line is right, but I think Ferreira is live. And just more reasons than once because I just feel like the power is there. And he's got some strength, I feel like in certain occasions where Ikram may want to grapple, he may be surprised by what Ferreira has to offer. So something that you may see here is people going with the finish. I think actually opposed to Ferreira not going to the judges' scorecards, I think I see it. The odds are right. I think it'd be a tough way for Ferreira to get a finish here. If he wins, I actually think he might get his first decision of his career. But Ikram Alaskarov could dominate here and then get to an easy decision. So over 2.5 rounds at +220. Odds makers do not see it that way. Taking a chance here. Maybe the first decision of his career, and maybe Ikram Alaskarov by decision.
Nothing for me. I got next fight.
Yeah, but the flyweights. Yeah, also Amabayev. I think it's interesting. He's a favorite here at -245, but to me, it's not only dog or pass. I think, like I said, to lead off the segment, Energy feels disrespected here with the rankings that came out and what he was able to do. He finished Lorna Kavanaugh, finished Josh Van. Yeah, he's got some losses scattered in there, but I feel like he's a tough matchup for anybody, and it could be especially for a guy who's 6 inches shorter than him and 6 inches less in reach. I'm going Energy here. Dog hunting. Give me Charles Johnson.
Quick question before or guess trivia before I give you mine. Is Baku considered in Europe or Asia? Because it's right there. It's like a transcontinental country.
From the Caucasus Mountains. No,
yes.
I would guess that's like Asia. I think
so. It's sitting physically in Asia, but apparently, historical, religion, political, they have more cultural ties to Europe. But Azerbaijan is on the Caspian Sea, which is technically in Western Asia. So it is Asia, but they say culturally they're more like Turkey, like a European country.
Yeah, like Europe adjacent, Europe.
Yeah. I just thought that was funny because I was like, where is I knew where Azerbaijan was, but I was like, it's one of those weird countries where I didn't know if it was Russia or Asia or Europe. Anyway, I went down a rabbit hole.
But hey, it was just, I guess, a lot happened from, different powers, right?
Yeah.
From different powers during that time in Europe and all over it. It definitely changed a lot of things. So,
yeah, but real quick for this, I think the striking is with Johnson. I was there in Denver when he beat Joshua Van. Little behold did I know Joshua Van was going to end up becoming champion right that night. Crazy night. I'm a big fan of Charles Jourdain. I don't think the striking is there for Amabayev.
It's the grappling.
It's the grappling, and that's where he wants it. He holds 89% control ground on the clinch and every exchange. That's elite compared to just 20% for Charles Johnson. And he spends 47% of his time in that control position. He has 27 takedowns in his career. Muhammad Makayev took him down 12 times as well, Charles Johnson. Cody Duran took him down 11 times. I worry about Charles Johnson. He's Amabayev is a relentless grappler, and he commits to it. And I think that's the blueprint here. I do think Charles Johnson is tough enough to go all 3 rounds. I think Amabayev is a little too big of a favorite, but please let me know if you're looking at odds. I'm looking at my bet sheet. I got Amabayev via decision at plus 110. Is that still a thing?
Also, Amabayev plus 110 via decision.
Via decision. I don't know if you have like fight odds up. No free shout outs.
I'm gonna look it out. Yeah, some of the best numbers are plus 110. Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, I think Charles Johnson is tough enough. He can maybe keep the fight standing. If he does, I do worry about Amabayev and his striking. But I just think
clash styles.
Yeah, but I just think ultimately he's going to commit to the ground game and take Charles Johnson down.
As he was successful with Jose Ochoa, who wants to keep the fight standing, and just hard to get a read on Alex Perez throughout his career. So getting the win back to back there, it just gives me pause because we have seen him lose to Manel Kape. He lost to Tagir Ulanbekov, who's not known for his striking, lose via finish there, and also a decision loss on his resume as well. So, history as of late may not indicate it, but there's always a chance. I think with the fight game, anything could happen, as we can see. I'm going to go with Energy Johnson, baby.
I love it.
Sadikov, bro. Nazim Sadikov is at home here.
Fight of the year back here, remember?
Yeah, dude. And I think just every time he goes out, he puts on a show for the fans. It's right here, point blank for you guys. Matheus Camilo loses via submission, majority of his losses. Plus 170, he is. I think he's going to give a good fight for Sadikov, but I think sooner or later Sadikov is going to find a way to win. And I'm going with him finding a way via submission. He has done in the past, though. Like I said, he puts on exciting fights and he likes to get a knockout for himself and especially for his own country. But I'm sure they'll be proud for him to get a finish, even if it's by submission. So give me Nazim Sadikov, the Black Wolf, via submission here. Juicy odds of plus 700. Like I was saying, it's right there. Look at Camilo's losses.
I don't have anything, but I am rooting for Long Island guy, Nazim Sadikov.
And they're all over there.
Aljo, Matt Frivola. They're all Ray Longo's out there. They're all out there.
Beautiful country. They're being welcomed with open arms. I mean, I would want to be there, bro. That flag.
No, I was actually, it's funny that you say that. I was looking, I said, is Azerbaijan? And they say safe. And I was like, fuck it. Let me just look it up. They said, yeah. They said very low crime rate. I'm down to go to Baku.
Feel like that too much. I feel like that's a way to kind of get you from wanting to travel and experience cultures and travel the world and see where it is.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
And then you get there and you're like,
There's bad spots
actually,
anywhere. Even in our own backyards. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't believe that.
Another middleweight matchup. I've seen a good amount of middleweights on this card here. Co-main event time for Michelle Pereira at plus 315, taking on Shara Bullet Magomedov at minus 330. D-Rock, do you think Pereira's got it still? I think he's past it.
You do?
Yeah.
I'm interested in this fight. I didn't make a bet, if I'm being honest. I didn't make a bet in this fight. I like Michel Pereira. I really do. I think he's a little past his prime. But
yeah, that's the thing. At 32.
If he takes this fight on the ground, I think he could survive and maybe win a round. But if the fight is on the feet, I think Shara Bullet is going to piece him up and eventually put him away. We saw it recently. I can't remember his last few fights, Michel Pereira, but he's gotten put away.
Fluffy Hernandez, and not only did he lose to Magomedov, he got finished by Kyle Dawkins. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. And honestly, the only fight that we really were spectacle on is the MVP fight. And that was a really good fight. And there were moments where Shara Bullet really was piecing up MVP. So yeah. I think his stand-up is really good. I think this is a really bad matchup for Michel Pereira. I like him. I don't see a way for him to win.
I don't think Shara Bullet would take any offense to this. Imagine if he had, a healthy set of eyes. Like if he just wasn't limited by the one eyes, because he can't get fights in the States. We know that there's certain places he can't go because of his physical limitations, but we've seen how talented he is on the feet. I think exactly that. Like I said, I think Pereira's past it. I think the value you can get out of Magomedov is with the KO here at plus 150. I think sooner or later, his skill set, what he's able to do on the feet, it's going to catch Pereira, because even if Pereira takes him down, I get the submissions maybe live there, but he hasn't been able to close a show in over 2 or 3 years. I think, like I said, I think he's past it. I think Magomedov has a long way to go for his career. He's going to be able to catch him somehow via KO plus 1.
I love it. Yep.
And we're here for the UFC Baku main event, man. A lightweight matchup that Rafael Fiziev gets to host, man. And I don't think it's an easy task against Manuel Torres. El Loco is an absolute dangerous threat for anyone at 155. So you can't say he's not live here, but I do see a little bit of a disparity with the technical capability. Like I said, Manuel Torres has the ability to close the show, and he's got power with his shots. And don't get me wrong, like his boxing is crisp. He works in the clinch very well. But I think after a couple of losses, though, I really think that Rafael Fiziev wants to put on for his fans. He wants to put on for his home country. And I think this is a spot to do it, to get back on track. All the credit in the world to Manuel Torres. And I think this is a great time for Manuel Torres to get a win. You look at the last couple of fights for Rafael Fiziev, but this is Justin Gaethje twice, and maybe too quick of a time, because look at the effects that happened against Mauricio Ruffy. I think anyone against Mauricio Ruffy, that's a bad time anyhow. So, he got that win against Ignacio Bahamondes. Something tells me the styles are a little bit similar. The body types are a little bit similar. I like to pick them, because that's how the odds are indicated right now. This fight is at a pick 'em. I'm going to pick the hometown guy. I'm going to take Rafael Fiziev.
I had a really tough time with this fight, if I'm being 100% honest. I think recent form, I really haven't liked what I've seen from Rafael Fiziev. Now, you could say, look at the level of competition, but I feel like we always say that. I don't want to keep saying, well, look at who he's fought. Look, at the end of the day, he's 1-4 in his last 5.
Yeah, but we count guys out at times, and they shot.
I think the striking numbers are where I think the gap becomes very visible. I think both men, 80%. First of all, under 1.5. I mean, Manuel Torres has only gone to decision 1 time. He lives and dies in the first round, right off the bat. So I'm going to take the under 1.5. That's going to be my first play. But I think both men, they spend, I would say, about more than half of their time at distance, striking. That's going to keep on the feet. No one's going shooting for a takedown in this fight. Fiziev, when you run the numbers, he lands 4.71 significant strikes per minute, but he's also absorbing a little around 13%. So he's absorbing slightly more than he's landing. And honestly, he's only scored 2 knockdowns across 12 UFC fights. Now,
MMA math ain't exact. Like I said, the loss for Bahamondes for
exactly.
the win for
MMA math, I never take that into account. But
and Torres lost to Bahamondes. Yeah, it's not exact.
and Manuel Torres, he lands 7.69 significant strikes per minute with a plus 236 differential, which he's absorbing less, higher volume, cleaner execution, and he has 4 knockdowns already in a fraction of what Rafael Fiziev has done. I can't take Rafael Fiziev in this spot. I'm going to take Manuel Torres, and I think in the fire, he is going to get caught, and Manuel Torres is going to put him out.
One of my favorite knockouts of all time against Nicholas Mata. Then he comes out and chokes Chris Duncan, who Chris Duncan always brings it. Then he did lose to Bahamondes, and maybe it's just like I said, Bahamondes is talented. That was a good win for Fiziev to get over a young Bahamondes. And then he beats all-time lightweight knockout leader Drew Dober, and then knocks out Grant Dawson. And look what Grant Dawson did his last time out. So, like you said, the level, the names, you may be fooled by what Fiziev's being to see, and maybe I am as well. I do like Manuel Torres a lot. I'm with you. I did originally just at a glance look at the over 1.5, but I think you're right. Manuel Torres is going to go for it, right? So
he has to go for it. And if you do like the over 1.5, you're actually favored, which I was surprised at. It is at minus 140, minus 130, I think, at Circa. That's the best price. But
dude, even if you don't do it in the first, that bell rings for the second round.
I got a plus 120 and shop around. I think you could get a plus 130, but for the under, Manuel Torres doesn't go to the second round. He's only been to the judges' scorecard one time. He's only gone past the first round one time. He doesn't do it. He lives and dies in the fire, and I respect that. And I just don't like the recent form of Rafael Fiziev.
Yeah. That's all I was asking before we ended it. Was that you don't think the crowd, none of that, the hometown vibe, that's not going to fuel him?
No.
I think it's too much coming from the Torres camp. But hey, like I said, I'm a fan of the fighter.
Yeah,
but I'm going with Fiziev. I'm gonna stick with the pick.
Well, good luck. Remember, set your alarms. Prelims go down at 9 a.m. on Paramount. Plus, main card starts at noon. So good luck in Azerbaijan. Let's take a quick break, and when we do, a quick word from Kalshi, real money predicting sports. Kalshi is available in a ton of states, and once you trade $10, you get $10 with our promo code ROCK with 2Ks24. That's Kalshi, promo code ROCK24. Back at it with the fights, and let's head back to the States, and we will go to the beautiful New York City where we have Xander Zayas taking on Boots Ennis. It's a really good fight card going down at the Barclays Center tomorrow night. I think it goes down around 7-8 o'clock. So it is on the Zone pay-per-view. By the way, I don't know if you're on like a subscription with the Zone, but for the pay-per-views, like any fight nights, like it's included in your subscription, but like pay-per-view, like for Matchroom this weekend, it's an extra, I think, $20 or $30. It's crazy, right?
Damn. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they get you with more money. Anyway, it is headlined by the great Jerome Boots Ennis out of Philadelphia. He said, hey, fighting in New York, it feels like home. He's only about an hour and a half away from Philadelphia. He is coming up, and he is taking on Xander Zayas, 23-0 Puerto Rican. I can't wait for this fight. 3-minute.
23-year-old.
Yeah, what did I say?
No. You said 23-0 for the Puerto Rican. I was like 23-0 for the 23-year-old.
3-year-old, exactly. Been fighting since he was born. It's for the WBO, WBA World Super Welterweight titles. I'll let you start with the main event, kid. What do you got?
Like I said, big pound for pound implications here. I mean, Xander Zayas, defies the odds, gets a win over Jerome Boots Ennis. He's ranked in the top 10 pound for pound in my book.
He has to be. If you beat Boots Ennis, and by the way, I forgot to mention Boots Ennis, huge favorite, minus 500. Plus 380, plus 400 for Zayas.
That's the thing. You look at the recent form. We talk about that's the funny thing with the soccer making way this summer, the World Cup. The recent form, I think it means a lot. It means the momentum. It means how your recent performances have been.
Yeah.
So you look at Jerome Boots Ennis, and I just think the power is just something that's, echo throughout his career. And I don't know, Xander Zayas has necessarily seen that. You look at some of the opponents here, the records aren't the best. It's, Jerome Boots Ennis has fought top level opponents. I think he's ready for another win here. But like I said, it's if you're willing to back Xander Zayas, you're making some big plus money because the odds are against him. But for me, I think the power sooner or later will connect. And, I haven't been hitting with I've been getting the finishes correct. I haven't been hitting with when the rounds are going to occur. So I'm just taking Jerome Boots Ennis via KO TKO at plus 105.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
That's what I did. I also took it in round for him to win in round 10, Boots Ennis, and that is 11-1. But I do think he gets the knockout later in the fight.
Yeah.
What it came down to me is I'm fascinated for the fight. Now, Zayas, I just feel like isn't the guy to do it. I respect him. I think he's a good fighter. I think at times early on, I think he could frustrate Boots. Sure, maybe draw him out, punish his maybe some bad habits that we see.
Early finishers, both guys, but I think that was to lesser opponents during their time.
And we saw Ennis fight through 24 rounds against the Chechenian without ever coming close to defeat. So I think once Boots familiarizes himself with Zayas, I think he's going to attack, force himself in that pocket, and it's only a matter of time until he puts your lights out. And I think that's what he does. And you know what I really don't like leading up to the fight? Yeah, you got to sell it. I think he's talking a big game, and Boots Ennis is just like, I can't wait till Saturday. He's been quiet, and those are the scariest motherfuckers to get in the ring with.
That's his personality too, bro.
We'll see Saturday night. That is why they fight. So
like you said, he was ready for the distance against the Chukasian fights. But then the ones that impressed me for Boots, like I said, seeing the finish and happen in this way against Xander Zayas, who I think is very talented and it's got a bright future. I don't think one loss should definitely derail your career. I think we're finding that to be more true nowadays. But getting Amantis Satonis, Stanionis out of there, I think that was extremely impressive.
100%. Let's go to the Chiefs support here in a really good card for the NABF, WBO Latino, and WBC USA Silver Super Lightweight title. What a fucking mouthful that is. Emilio Vargas.
They get all these different belts and shit.
He's insane, but Emilio Vargas, great guy. He is 14-1, big favorite here against Bryce Mills, who comes back at plus 700. Joe, what do you like here?
My thing is, I think Bryce Mills. I think the odds are right, but he's a talented fighter. Let's be real. Like, Bryce Mills is not getting knocked out here. I think Emiliano Vargas has knocked out a lot of opponents in the past, but I just don't think the power is going to translate into this one. I think Emiliano Vargas is going to have to stay on the outside and stay away from Bryce Mills' power. I think that's where the power is coming from the Mills camp. So if Emiliano Vargas is smart, he'll stay on the outside. He'll play a smart game plan, defensive-minded, stay away from the power shots of Bryce Mills, add up those points, add up those shots, and win on the judges' scorecards unanimously. I'm not picking specific on which way he'll do it, but I'm taking Emiliano Vargas to retain and also get the belt that Bryce Mills does have. Like I said, people are seeing
he is a champion.
People are seeing a finish for Bryce Mills. This guy is a champion here. I think it legitimizes Emiliano Vargas more, getting a win over a champion in Bryce Mills, but it'll happen via decision. So Vargas via decision is minus 120.
Oh, Joe, we were lockstepped until we weren't. I like Bryce Mills. I think he's tough. I think he's durable. I think he's a really good fighter. But Vargas throws too much volume, and I think he eventually is going to break down Bryce Mills.
Going to land, huh?
I don't think it goes all, what was it? How many scheduled? 10 rounds. I don't think it goes 10 rounds. The over-under is 8.5. I like fight doesn't go the distance at plus 125, and I'm also taking Emilio Vargas via KO TKO at plus 130. I think he eventually finds the chin, and I think he puts him out. So I think he's tough. I think early on he's going to try to figure him out, but eventually he's going to put him away, I think. So
yeah, I like Bryce Mills. Like, I've seen him before. I think the dude can fight. I think, like I said, if Vargas doesn't mind his P's and Q's, he could be the one getting dropped to the canvas.
Oh, 100%. Anything else on this card that
did you not mention the Ben Whitaker fight?
Well, there's a fight before that, but I was gonna see if you liked anything else.
Not necessarily, man. Like, that's the only one I kind of kept my eye on, really.
Ben Whitaker's a huge name, which is why I kind of wanted to do it. I mean, he is taking on Richard Rivera.
All by the Sailor Man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the odds real quick. Ben Whitaker 20 to 1 plus 900 for the fucking Sailor. How can you back someone whose name is Popeye the Sailor Man?
I think it's gold. I mean, he's got some knockouts, you know.
And I know he's from New York, and he's like, oh, Ben's coming to my town. He's talking a big game, and you know what we used to say? It sounds good, but wait until Ben Whitaker. This is his first time fighting in the States. He's undefeated. He's a hard guy to get out. Yeah, he's box office. Ben Whitaker is like that.
And I exactly. I think don't let the style, his like showboating style, fool you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Prince Nassim back in the day was showboating his entire fight, but he was knocking dudes out, and that's what Ben Whitaker does. I think an accomplishment for Richard Rivera here, Popeye the Sailor Man, would be getting past 6 rounds, going into the 7th. So I got over 6.5 rounds at -110, but thereafter, I think the avalanche will occur. Ben Whitaker is going to start connecting.
Yeah, I don't mind the over 6.5 here. You get that at -110. Fight to go the distance. Plus 250. You think it goes to the scorecards?
I don't know about that. That's what I'm saying. I think at a certain point, I think
Whitaker,
Ben Whitaker's going to pick his shots, and he's going to know when the fight gets a little bit later, it's the time to.
It's hard to bet Ben Whitaker unless you put him as a parlay piece. But even if you take him via KO TKO, he's still -275. Like, you need to figure a way, unless you want to throw an 8 ball out there and put around, then it's going to be plus money. But Ben Whitaker is such a huge favorite, it's hard to
take a prop
to take him. So either you put him in a parlay piece or whatnot. But yeah, we're all over Ben Whitaker.
That's what I was going to conclude with that maybe you do like a parlay, because you and I are kind of, like you said, lockstep with the sides, just not exactly how they get it done.
Exactly. So why don't you guys go check that out? Live on the Zone this Saturday, 8 p.m. Promotion is Matchroom, like Joe said, at the Barclays Center. Goes down. There's only 7 fights. It's not a huge card, but it goes down at 8 o'clock. So main event probably midnight, 11, something around that point. You know how boxing is sometimes, kid. But before we get to some more, I have some news before we get to UFC PFL San Diego. I wanted to touch on, now I don't want to really talk about it a lot, but I did want to mention, because I do see people throwing dirt on his name when he's down. I'm not in the business to doing that. Everyone's heard about the whole Dustin Poirier thing about him being in publicly drunk or whatever in the airport, getting kicked off. He was released. He acknowledged, I need help, and he's going to get help. And you see that in a lot of, not just fighters, but you see that in a lot of athletes when it is time to hang it up and they don't really have a succession plan on like what to do with their life moving forward. They go down a bad road sometimes, and we see it. And it's unfortunate. I've never met Dustin Poirier. I've seen him in an event where he was doing broadcasting, but from everything that he says, he has a wife, he has a little girl. He seems like a really good guy. And personally, Joe, I don't want to speak for you or the show, but I don't want to kick a man when he's down. I hope and I pray for his family. I hope he gets the help that he needs. And anybody that's throwing dirt on a guy like Dustin Poirier's name because he made a bad deciation, I think
those are anonymous accounts, bro. There's no one being held, liable.
And honestly, I think you should be ashamed of yourself. We all, no one's perfect, and we all deserve. I'm in the category that where I think everyone deserves a second chance in life. Yeah. So throw Dustin a bone. If you're a religious person, pray. I've already prayed for Dustin. I just hope he gets better. That's all I wanted to say on the matter.
It's just that, like, not only life after fighting. I mean, it could be retirement. It could be if you come up to some money at a certain point in your life or certain circumstances. Like I say, we're all human. We're all fallible. Things occur. I feel like things are accelerated. He's getting post-fight, being introduced to like the analyst desk, and then like, all his friends maybe want to do this or that. He's got his money that he, at the end of the day, I think fighters have their money when they're fighting and they can spend it how they want. But at the end of the day, not necessarily. Like they're committed to fighting. They want to stay, in the gym, stick with what got them there and what's kind of getting them paid. until after they retire. Then that's when they start spending their money a little bit. So
right.
I feel like that's what it is. It's like, everything's like kind of accelerated. He was saying that he was with his friends, like my boys are going to the crib, and like, there's some hilarity that we could look back, and I think Dustin will as well, to laugh at that situation, especially the cop. Kudos to the cop for keeping his cool and understanding the situation. And I think one thing we could say, I would have believed, badge or not, it would have been bad for the cop. That's Dustin Poirier.
He knew. Shout out the cop who was like, "Nah." He said, "Nah, that's a UFC fighter." He was ready. You saw Dustin though. He was ready. I'm not laughing at him, but
no,
you
but
got
that's what I'm
to.
saying. Like, even he will get a laugh out of it. But I mean, like, that's just a sign that it shouldn't happen, and he's already course correcting. So kudos to one of the legends of the sport.
We got a main event July 18th, very special day, my birthday. UFC Oklahoma City, DDP taking on Kamaru Usman. It's the worst kept secret. We've kind of known about it. It's a 5-round middleweight main event. Hell of a fight, though, kid.
Yeah, I think Kamaru Usman's going to do fine at middleweight.
Are you surprised this is DDP's next fight?
I mean, what else was there, like for him to get a title shot? No, I don't necessarily think that, right? That's the argument we had in a couple episodes prior, was that, I guess I'm the champion again because Sean Strickland won after he's 0-2 against DDP, right? So, this is like, I was going to compliment Kamaru Usman being a title holder, being one of the legends of 170. I think it's a big name if DDP gets a win, but Kamaru Usman, look how he competed against Hamza Chimaev. He was winning that third round. If there was a fourth and fifth round, he would have done real well. Now, I know it's a completely different style, and this is DDP we're talking about. I don't think he's going to fade in the fourth and fifth round. But I think, like I said, the division could suit Usman well. And a win over DDP, I think, gets him a title shot, to be real with you. You look at Sean Strickland at 170, he was undefeated until he came across Kamaru Usman, who then went on his legendary streak. And Kamaru Usman almost beat Hamza Chimaev. I think there's an argument for Usman getting a win over DDP to getting a title shot.
I guess my thing is, and I guess other people would make the argument, what do you do with Nasruddin Imavov? He's kind of waiting in the wings. It would have been a nice title eliminator between DDP and Nasruddin Imavov. Why Kamaru Usman? Aside from the name.
He was owed a favor. Maybe. Maybe that's the thing. Like, Imavov is not owed any favors.
But he's undefeated. At a certain point, aren't we... But
according to the meta rankings, right, he's right there, right?
You got to chill with the meta rankings. I think that, but
are we not in before? It was like, you know what I mean? But
aren't we in a meritocracy though?
That's what it should be. But I think that's.
But we're not.
That's the point about the meta rankings. Supposedly, that's the meritocracy.
Then we wouldn't have gotten this fight.
Right?
You know what I mean? So I low key, I'm not a big Imavov fan, but it's just a point where it's like.
Call it for what it is.
Yeah, a spade's is. I tell the truth. Imavov deserves a big time fight. Why isn't he getting it? That's
is there anyone else outside of that? Like, didn't he beat Brendan Allen already?
He's undefeated.
You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of cleared out the division.
He just came off a knockout of Israel Adesanya, first bout Hall of Famer. That's a title after that.
If you say wild card is if they're hoping Hamzat wants to fight and stay there for the rematch, but if he just can't, and he's gonna have to go to light heavyweight.
And I guess how I rationalized it was they're gonna have the rematch. Hamzat's not moving to light heavyweight. He wants the rematch. He's come out and said it. Whenever they fight,
he physically cannot. Like, what if that does happen?
What?
If he physically cannot, his body won't allow him to cut to even 185.
He's going to make that weight. I think.
There's that controversy that he did not make 185.
I don't believe in that. He made the weight. There have been so many more times where you see a commission be like 185. And then they hit it.
You gotta keep this moving. I gotta go.
Yeah. So no, I think he can make it. I think the weight cut will be a little better, but that's gonna be it. It's gonna be the rematch. Then it's DDP next. He wanted to take a fight. He didn't get his rematch against Sean Strickland. So he said, you know what? I'll take Kamaru Usman. I'll headline a card in the middle of fucking America in the middle of the summer. That's what he's gonna do. So I don't mind the fight. I think it's a really good fight. I'm gonna watch it. I low-key feel bad for Nasruddin Imavov though. Like what's gonna happen with
You've
him?
been advocating for him for some time now. When is he gonna come to fruition?
And you see it. You saw it with Marab. You saw it with Bilal Muhammad. How many times do these guys need to win until they're owed a title shot? It's unfortunate, but that's the lay of the land that we live in. UFC 330, August 15th at the Wells Fargo Arena. Is it? No, it's at the Xfinity Mobile. The Wells Fargo. That's showing my age. It was the Wells Fargo. It's the Xfinity Mobile.
Everywhere's got a new name. I don't even try to keep up at this point.
Anyway, Jeff Hands of Steel Neal's gonna take on Chidian Njokuanu.
That's a banger. Like, I mean, both guys are gonna be there to throw, right? Like,
oh, it's gonna be a banger of a fucking fight.
Someone's going to sleep.
Yes. Fight to end in KO TKO. I'll tell you that.
That's a good one.
UFC Sacramento, August 22nd. We are headlined by Anthony fucking Hernandez taking on Gregory Rodriguez. 5-round middleweight main event. Hometown kid getting it, and Anthony Hernandez.
You know, I think momentum's a hell of a thing. I think RoboCop's kind of live, bro. I bet he's gonna be an underdog heading into that matchup because Fluff Hernandez has got the skill, but like I said, losing that win streak that he had, I don't know. It could play a factor. Maybe RoboCop has a shot.
Trying to see. Nope, just the 2 title fights for UFC 330 to see if there's any like hypothetical lines. We do have I'm going to say allegedly Chris Cyborg, her retirement fight. She will take on former UFC bantamweight Ketlin Vieira, PFL Tampa the same night, August 22nd, going head to head with the UFC. Allegedly, all the journalists and promotions are saying it will be Cyborg's last fight. I want to wait until she says it because we've seen the longevity of Chris Cyborg. But on just a matchmaking perspective, great fight. It's the only fight to make, honestly.
And like you said, a higher level women's mixed martial arts coming from the UFC to end Chris Cyborg's career. Caitlin Vera is going to be all that for her. It's going to be good competition. I think Chris Cyborg, she's outmatched a lot of her opposition, and that's no fault of her own. It just goes to show her greatness and how good she was. Mind you, and over the past 2 decades of her fighting, starting her career in 2005, she's only lost to her first career was a submission. She got caught in her first ever experience of a fight, and then Amanda Nunes. So, at the end of the day, Amanda Nunes cashed her checks and then left the fight game. Chris Cyborg has been a diehard for us fans. Whatever style of fight and the rule set that she's been a part of, she seems to have always come out victorious, and she's gonna, end her career on a high note. Like you said, it's no easy task, Caitlin Vera, but I hope she does it. I think that'll prove Chris Cyborg's greatness.
And say what you want about Chris Cyborg, but at her age, still beating high competition level MMA fighters, that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
So that's the last thing I got for MMA. Boxing, real quick, before we came on, I got the news. Alexander Usyk is vacating his world titles. He is vacating his heavyweight world titles, but he's not retiring. He will have one last stance before calling it a career. Does he get the Rico rematch?
Really?
Why not? You're going to have AJ versus Tyson. He's not going to wait for that. There's no reason. He's beating them.
Why? Yeah, he doesn't need to do anything.
But he doesn't. He's not retiring. The post said like he's wants one more fight, and he's gonna get paid fucking 50, 60 million, maybe 100 million. This fucking guy.
Maybe the one more fight's mixed martial arts.
No, he's not gonna do that.
Eddie Hall, or Tommy Fury.
Do you think realistically though it is Rico?
Why would you want to take that fight again? Really, right?
Because I think it left it. I think to prove it, to prove that it was to himself and others, where people were like, "You lost that fight. The ref saved you."
I hate it for Rico Verhoeven in this case because it's like, what if he said to them, he's like, "I'm thinking of rematching him because I want to prove it to myself that I could beat him like legitimately like that." And at the end of the day, we can argue legitimacy all day, but they said, no, you need to get rid of these belts because just in case if he does beat you.
Yeah. And we talked about that. Sometimes the history of the sport doesn't want, it seems like they don't want you to win.
We want Atama to have a belt. We want all these new up-and-coming, maybe Opataya if he wants to go to heavyweight. Like, we got all these new guys. Maybe that's where they want to kind of send the belts out to, instead of like, just in case Verhoeven does upset Usyk, then he's got all the belts, and that changes boxing entirely.
Insane. We'll see. But yeah, can't wait for that announcement. Kid, let's get to it. 10 seconds left. I'm going to jump in here, though. It is PFL San Diego going down tomorrow evening, 7 p.m., obviously in San Diego. It's a 10-fight bout headlined by AJ McKee taking on, help me pronounce this man's name.
Salamat Isbulayev.
There you go. AJ McKee, though, he is favorite now. I looked at the updated. He is favorite minus 125. Money has come in on him.
I think that's very close. I actually think that's a highly competitive fight. I think AJ McKee, he's only lost via decision his entire career. I mean, he always he's a hard out. So I think he's live, and I think, as you said, the line swung in his favor. Now he is a favorite. Ismabulev, I think, is serious though.
He's legit, bro.
He's absolutely legit. I'm not going to take a side in that one. I actually think it's a 5-round fight, right?
Yes.
I actually think over 2.5 is probably live for me to take a total in that. Like I said, I don't see McKee going out. I don't see him really getting submitted early. But it's just if Ismabulev could, maybe grind him out, get that sub late, or if he catches him, I mean, that would be a big feather in the cap, a finish here for Ismabulev against McKee. A feather in the cap for either fighter to get a finish, but I think it happens late, or we do reach the judges. So I'd lean the over 2.5 rounds for the main event.
It sucks because I love AJ McKee. I think he's such a cool fighter. I feel like I would be friends with AJ McKee. He's a skater. Like, he loves to be by the ocean. Like, he seems like just a very chill guy, but he could also fuck you up. Yeah.
Or the Jersey Shore. Easy.
Where's
he from again? He's not from Cali, right?
I think he's a California kid, if I'm being honest.
Lakewood, California.
Yeah, he's a California kid. Yeah, so I'm glad that he's headlining in his home state.
Yeah, that's sick.
But I'm going to fade him. I'm going to take my boy from Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan. They might be live this weekend.
Yeah, and I just think this guy finishes fights. And I know AJ McKee is a more decision fighter and he kind of goes the distance. I don't think this fight goes the distance. And hopefully it finishes in the 4th or 5th round for your over. But I just think AJ McKee is going to get caught. And if he gets taken down, I just think he's going to lose this fight, and I'm going to take the dog now. I mean, I got a bad number. I was talking to Joe yesterday, breaking the fourth wall, and I got how do you pronounce his name one more time for me?
Isbulayev.
I got him at minus 120, and now he's plus money. Dog. So I am a little worried that the money went the other way on me.
Well, one thing that is for sure, Alexander Shabliy is going to get a knockout. He's going to knock out Alfie Davis.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, it says it right there. He got tapped by Usman, and Shabliy went to decision with Usman. I think this.
Remember, MMA Matt don't work.
Shabli's going to knock him out, though. He thinks you're going to get a submission in that one. No, he's going to knock him out.
Yeah, Alexander Shabliy is going to knock out Alfie Davis. I'm not a big fan of him. But before we even got to that fight, I like the chief support. Shout out to PFL actually supporting women on the card. Liz Carmouche taking on Viviana Araújo. I mean, my girl, Viviana Araújo. I think the fight is way closer than the odds. Right now, Liz Carmouche over a $2 favor. You could get plus 190 with Vivian. I think Vivian could drag her into deep water and eventually edge out a split decision win here. Give me the dog, baby.
Here's me, because I feel like they might want to protect their product in a way and want to give Carmouche that split decision win. You know, been like a defending champion, been there for the promotion all this time. Araújo coming from the UFC. You know, a lot of the UFC fighters coming over haven't found that much success, but maybe Araújo can get the belt. I like the play. I think she's live. This should be a lot closer. 42 years of age. Liz Carmouche has been timeless, but it always comes to a point. It comes a point.
Are you going to back the Englishman over our boy, Rob Wilkerson? He is a dog now.
Well, I know. Looking at it, I was looking at Rob Wilkinson, but, man, you kind of maybe have influenced me that Abraham Bobley might.
He's like that. Yeah, he's gonna knock him out, bro. I think
But
his power is just phenomenal.
maybe Magomed Sharipov. Last time I heard that name, he's not related to Zabit, is he?
I don't.
Hassan
You're asking
Magomed
the wrong
Sharipov?
one.
He might be, bro. And you got to take him over Joshua Weems. So there's a couple fighters in here that you might want to parlay.
I'm taking
or-
Ariana Limsky here, going up against Jenna Bishop again, promoting women. We like to see that. She's a minus 110 favorite. It's a pick 'em match, but I'm gonna take Ariana Del Silva here against Jenna
might
Bishop.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean the rest of the card. I mean, take your
Shanna
poison.
Clark is on the card.
Yeah, have a pick.
It's not
pick your
a
poison.
terrible card.
I just think it gets a little bit closer. I think we're right with our picks in the top part of the card.
Hopefully. And that was 10 seconds. Usually it's just Joe, but I had to jump in. I do
Thank
actually
you.
like the card.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Anything else before we get up out of
Oh,
here?
just a little WWE. I think they got Night of Champions, King of the Ring on that. So, I mean, if you guys are trying to watch some of that, I'm into some fighting this weekend. There's some boxing, some mixed martial arts. So that's what we're gonna do.
I'm definitely not tuning into that this weekend. I got too much to be going on to watch some WWE. But boys, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Good luck on the fights. Enjoy the fights this weekend, and we'll be back next week. We'll break them down. And the grind never stops, kid. I appreciate you. We'll see you next week. Peace.